Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with Golden Opportunities Coaching. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is bring about conversations about a variety of topics: social, emotional, psychological, coaching, all sorts of things. And when we do that, we can make a major difference. We're over 500 subscribers now, over 500 and some odd audios, variety of topics. We try to update almost every day. Sometimes we succeed, sometimes we fall short. If you're looking to have better relationships, though, in 2021 and beyond, as we look toward the summer, maybe as getting back to a more normalcy, at least here in Western culture, post COVID, then I'd love to be of service to you. Please feel free to reach out. There's two ways to do that: at PO Perception on Twitter or the About Me section of this page. Go to my website, check it out, see if there's anything that's of value to you. Today we're going to talk about how you fall for the wrong person. We've all done it. Relationship dependency is a major part of that, but we'll talk about that a little further. There's about 5 or 6 things I want to talk about during this audio. The first is you pretend to be something you're not. You know, we all have, or almost all of us, have done this. We pretend to be more committed than we are. We pretend to be more tolerant than we are. We pretend to be more open-minded than we are. We pretend to be open and into certain hobbies or tolerant of different beliefs. And then we create this fantasy that when a person is, interested in us, they'll change for us. He loves me, so he'll quit drinking. She loves me, so she'll quit spending so much money. He loves me, so he won't flirt. She loves me, so she won't, yell as much. Whatever. And it's a fantasy because who a person naturally is going to come out in a relationship anyway. After working with over 15,000 people in dozens of countries, at least close to 40,000 sessions, the one thing I can say is there is no way that a person's going to change without their desire being part of that process, and most often the main driving force of that process. The next is you feel unworthy to be loved. Okay, here's a news flash. We're all going to have that emotion from time to time. We're all going to feel like we're loved less, or we've messed up in previous relationships, or who we were to our ex or our former spouse, or the love of our lives that got away, or whomever makes us so wretched, so horrible that we can't be loved. And the truth is, in most of those situations, I'd say a good 85 to 90%, we had outgrown that person long before the problem started, but we weren't honest with ourselves. And so then, after the performance was over, our view of our own ability to love or our own ability to be loved was altered in a negative way, and sometimes it can take weeks, months, or even years to fix that. I deal with people on a regular basis who are past mid-age. We're talking people in their 50s and 60s who are still dealing with high school and college relationship bad habits. It happened. It's ingrained in who we are. Does that mean it's going to happen for everybody? No, but true unconditional love is a lot more rare than Hollywood would have us believe, and therefore falling for the wrong person is a pretty good odds that you're going to do that unless you know yourself really well, unless you've done the introspection work and you know what your standards and boundaries are. That's the next thing actually in our list is standards. Either your standards are too high, meaning you only want the supermodel, or you only want the person who makes 6 figures, or you only want the person who is, into this certain hobby that's very niche that you're into, or your standards are too low. I'll go anywhere that gives me attention. Now, I openly admit that I have higher standards than I used to. After my last few relationships, I realized my standards were a little lower than they could have been, should have been. And so now my standards are a little high, and it means I've been single for several years now, and I'm happier that way, honestly. For the right person, I might change myself, but it'd have to be the right person. And that's really where you need to be. Know what your standards are. Look at them every, 3 or 4 times a year. Figure out if they're too high, figure out if they're too low, adjust them as is commiserate to your experiences with the relationships you're trying to start or have had, and then rinse and repeat and try again. Finding that one person out of 7 billion can be easy or hard depending on our perception, but you can't find anybody if you're shooting yourself in the foot. The next is the most common archetype of something I see. The archetype of the overgiver. So this is a person who, if I give them money, if I give them time, if I bend my will sexually, if I let them flirt, if I'm polyamorous, if I don't care if they drink or use drugs, if I do this, if I do that, if I overgive, they'll love me the way I want to be loved. This is the most single bit of faulty logic that kills romantic relationships. Only give as much as the other person is willing to give when we're talking about consistency. Now that doesn't mean if Bob falls and breaks his foot, or if Mary, has was left without a job, that you can't change how you behave to them in the short term. But love is a volley. And the volley part is I give, you give, I give, you give. If you're in the constant process of overgiving, there is absolutely positively no value to that relationship, because sooner or later, one of three things is going to happen. They're going to take advantage, push you beyond your limits, or you're going to burn out, or you're going to resent how much you've given. And that relationship will fail as a result. So, the archetype of the overgiver, let that go. The sooner you do, the better off you're going to be. The next is you try to fix a person. Look, I'm all for self-improvement. Obviously, I'm in a field that requires it and necessitates it. But you can only improve a person as much as they're willing to improve themselves. And a person's viewpoint within themselves has to change for themselves, which means the change has to come internal first. You can help a person, you can be there for them, you can be a sounding board, you can give ideas, you can give emotional support and opinions, you can do a lot, but the fix has to come from within them. The last thing, and it's the second most toxic behavior that causes people to choose the wrong partner for them, and that is need versus want. I want a partner because I think it would enrich my life. I don't need one. If you're not complete within yourself, you will not be complete with another person. A matter of fact, you will expect that person to complete you, and when they don't, you'll feel rejected, you'll feel hurt, you'll feel alone, you'll feel confused, and at the end of the day, you're going to just add to the collateral damage that romantic relationships has brought you over the last several months or years or even decades. So hopefully this is helpful. Again, I encourage you to reach out if you need help. Until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.